Hello guys, hope everyone's doing alright. Um, yeah, so as you can see, we've missed a little bit in terms of streaming for this series. Reason being is at the end of the last stream, the Ed stream last week, I was saying how I wasn't feeling particularly well. It turns out I had COVID. I got tested for it, I think it was the day after, came back positive, and I kind of got worse for a little while. Feeling fine now, I felt fine yesterday and the day before. So I've just kind of, I've recovered at this point. But since these mini projects are every 2 weeks, I've obviously kind of been, wanting to get a bit of that done. So I've done a bulk of the modelling for this. So the theme for Blue Zoo's kind of sculpt off is Plushie at the moment. That's the current one. So I've decided I want to make this little dude. Now he's part of a meme where it's like, bitch, it's self-love o'clock. You better be like appreciating all your positives and negatives, like all that sort of stuff. I figured I might try to make a CG version of that. One, because it's a simple asset, but two, it could be fun just to come up with like little messages to put on it, send it to people, that sort of shit. But yeah, so I've just got to grim it. That's all I'm gonna do. We'll be working in Yeti. If anyone has any questions about Yeti, by all means, feel free to ask. I'm going to post this quickly to CG Grooming Artist. See if anyone is interested in learning some Yeti. So, one sec. Hey guys. Drop by and ask questions. Cool. So there we go. I'm just going to start grooming it. I will have to go reference hunting, but I'm going to mostly improvise it. I'm not too worried about getting something photoreal. It's a simple character. I want to keep it simple. But yeah, so I guess let's just quickly name our scene. This is the current render. It's literally just ZRemesh directly out of ZBrush, and he is vaguely lined up to a reference. I've not bothered lining things up perfectly. The knife is in roughly the right place and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, like there's a little bit too much volume in some places, but for the most part, it's close enough. The mouth is in the right place, and the arm's not right, but I don't really care. The pose is mostly the same, and we'll be adding some fur anyway. So yeah, it's all there. I just need to quickly name stuff. And in terms of lighting, it's just some point lights, nothing really crazy going on. So let's just call this, we'll combine these actually. IGO. Cool. Beak Geo. So let's just get that. And then we got the feet. So let's just combine those for now. Feet Geo. Could have had a bad plush, but you've got this. What? Yeah, so let's get that in there. So that's everything. I just need to quickly set these guys to be Catmull Clark, 2 subdivisions, and same with these guys. So that's ready to render. And we'll do, obviously, look dev kind of as we go. I don't expect to be doing any look dev today. Let's keep it mostly grey shade. And then final thing, what are you? That's the old body, so we'll get rid of that. And this is a background plane. We'll get rid of that. Ground Geo. Delete these two. Group those. Render. Group. Cool. So I got a nice clean scene. In terms of UVs, it's literally just auto UV'd. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. Just because he's not going to have any textures. Maybe I'll do some lit dev texturing, but auto UVs are good enough for a project like this. So yeah, let's just freeze transformations on everything. Modify, freeze transformations, and delete the history. And then, yeah, let's just get stuff into a display layer. So, channel, let's call this other geo, geo layer. And then put this guy in a layer as well, so body geo LYR. And then create a Yeti node mesh, create groom on mesh for body and for body groom. Cool. So yeah, if anyone has any questions about Yeti, by all means feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to kind of divert. I probably won't stream for too long tonight, maybe 2, max 3 hours. But I don't plan on grooming for too long. I'll be doing some more over the weekend, although I do want to spend most of this weekend out the house because I've been in self-isolation since Friday. So, yeah, let's just get into grooming. So, I guess we need to get that reference up, don't we? So, this is our main ref, and we'll look for some plushies on Google, which is going to be a beautiful thing. Plushies for... So let's find some like nice groom ref, something that we can kind of aim towards. Because one issue I've got is obviously this image is incredibly low res, and as far as I can find, this is the original. Like there is no version before this where it actually has all the environment and stuff. Because he is clearly lit from the left, like the shadows on that, but there's no information about what's around him, and it's so low res that we can't really get much. So we'll have to find some ref from online. I could do like this kind of woolly fur, but I'm not entirely sure. I feel like we want to do something a little bit more hair-like. Something like this could be cool. Get that like plasticky look dev to it. In fact, yeah, I might treat this as my main ref. Okay, cool. So let's get that on my other screen. And I'm just going to move things around a little bit. There we go. Open image, new tab. It's a nice high-res image, which is helpful. There we go. Hey, Kosi. How you doing, dude? Cool. There we go. So, grooming. Let's start off with the general direction. So I'm going to try... I'm normally quite methodical with guides, but in the case of this character, I kind of want to try being a little bit more chaotic. So let's conform new strands, and let's go into the tool settings. I'm just going to add a single curve. Okay, so length-wise, that's obviously too much. So let's set the initial strand length like 0.2. So I feel like that should be fine. So I'm going to try a few things a little bit differently from what I normally would. So I'm going to try to groom asymmetrically. And I'm going to... actually, that might have been fine. Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to try grooming asymmetrically. And I'm going to not groom one curve at a time. So I'll try to like use the comb tools and the sculpt tool with multiple guides at the same time. Just because I kind of want to learn other guide methods, basically. Because my usual method for guides is very methodical. I'll do one guide until it's as close to right as I can get it. I need to hide that ground geometry, it's already annoying. But yeah, so we'll just get some general stuff placed out. But again, for clarity, if there's anyone watching this who's brand new to grooming, I personally don't recommend this specific guide workflow. I personally recommend you place one guide, you position it right. Let me just hide this because it's getting on my nerves to no end. In fact, we'll put it in a display layer. Let's add it to the other layer. Cool. So, get back into this guy. Actually, that's a edit groom. And if this method doesn't really work for me, I'll just go back to my standard method, because I'm pretty quick with kind of my usual method of grooming at this point. So we'll want to do quite a lot of length variation on this guy, I think, in terms of like region to region. But yes, that's enough for now. So let's just go in with this comb tool and create some vaguely interesting directions. I'll have a parting line kind of at the top. I'm not going to worry too much about the intersections yet as well, because there is stuff you can do about that. This hair might be a little bit too long, actually. Oh. Conform. I mean, on the arms it's definitely too long, but I think on the bottom of him as well, it might just be too long in general. But yeah, this is not normally how I groom. I've seen a lot of people groom like this successfully though, so I kind of want to, see what the method is like to play with. Let's rebuild these guys. Cool. So we got a generic direction on this guy. So let's just throw some elevation in there and flood. No, that's way too much. Let's do this and strength. It's really sensitive. There we go. Cool. So let's go in and start. I bought your hair tutorial. It was really good to follow. Glad to hear it, man. Is the Flip Normals X Gen one, yeah? Let's go that on there. Let's get some vaguely interesting shapes in there. Maybe flick an area out. Oh shit. So I think for the arms I'm going to half their length. We'll kind of blend it nicely in, but we'll see what it looks like first, because it could look quite cool. I have a feeling the fur in general is too long. So let's just get a few of those. It'd be nice if there was a way to add like a surface offset to the collision. I keep doing that. Yeah, definitely need to massively reduce the length on the arms, but we'll see how it looks. Cool, so let's just have a quick look. What happens when we actually add fur to this? So import, grow, and comb. Import geo. And then import our groom. Oh. Cool, and we're going to use that to grow and comb our hair. And let's get the other geometries visible. So obviously we'll need to kind of figure out how to comb it around the face. Okay, so let's throw some width in there as well. 0.2. Oh yeah, I'm not viewing it. That'd be helpful, wouldn't it? Okay, so let's go 0.25. And then with it being artificial fibers, the length is going to be, or the width is going to be almost identical between root and tip. I will add a very minor amount of taper, just so it's, you know, a little bit thinner at the tip, but it's got to be subtle. And then obviously we need to reduce that now. Just me, or is it getting thicker at the tip? Keep going thinner. Needs to go even thinner. Let's go 0.01. Cool. And then drastically increase this. So that's density multiplier. Yeah, 100 is not drastic enough. Okay. No music today. Can you guys not hear the music? You should be able to hear some music. Maybe it's just really quiet. Let me increase that. Is that better? Alright, so let's get that. Oh, got some messages. Cool. So, yeah, I think I definitely want to shorten this quite a lot. So let's flood fill the length of this guy. Outliner, grab you, tool options. Okay, so we want to go to attribute paint. So length, I just want to fill this to a lower number. I also want to decrease the size of that, because that's huge. There we go. So these are currently set to 0.2, so I'm going to half that and set these to 0.1. So that will give us a little bit more control of our little guy. Have you tried Houdini? I've worked in Houdini in the past. I haven't done much grooming in it, but I have used it. So let's quickly fix that. I wish there was a shortcut to very quickly invert this ramp. That would be really, really helpful. So I don't think there is anything that you can do. Is it going to take over Maya in the future? For grooming, yeah, it will. In terms of in general, it's too many variables. As in, like, there's too many variables in it overtaking. Not that Houdini has too many variables. So let's continue to scatter. Hide the groom while we're at it. Because we got some bold patches. And they're very strange. We'll fix all this area up. Definitely not really keen on the method of just like throwing loads of guides at a surface, but it's worth giving it a try. See how it works. Resample. So we sample them lower. Resampling to a lower CV count on your guides makes them a little bit less sensitive to brushstrokes, which is very, very helpful. So, eyes, how are we going to handle this? First off, let's make sure we got enough guides around them. So, I've got a feeling that the guys just need to push away in every direction. Or we could shorten the length as well, have the length taper towards the eyes. Of course there's an element of density as well, I do need to remove the density from there. But I'm not really too worried about doing that yet. We could give him little angry eyebrows, that could be cool. Oh yeah, let's give him tiny little angry eyebrows, let's do that. So, up to there, I think. That will divert hair away from the eye as well. Resample these. Oh. Ah, god damn it. Okay. One of the dangers of not having this turned on all the time. So we'll never see the back of this guy, but I still want to make sure there's at least something interesting going on. Actually, if we flood that, yeah, there we go. That will slowly fill up the surface until they're perfectly uniform. This might take a little while. There we go. Cool. So, let's get some eyebrows going on this side. Something like that. No, resample. Okay, so let's just quickly resample all that. So I wonder what that does. It will look dumb, I'm sure, but let's just give it a quick go. Yeah. That said, that's all we need to be able to pull the hair away from the eyes. And we do need to get a bit of parting in there as well. So if we go into auto parting, let's find a good threshold. And then I guess halfway along the hair is fine, but let's try. Something like that. We'll have to fix this side later. Cool. So out of curiosity, how does that render? We will set the render to be twice as dense and leave it at that. I just want to check things like density and thickness. Fur directory does not exist. Okay. That's a new one. Never seen that before. Oh, wait, I've never saved with that. User init from. I've literally never seen that before. Let's try update full scene. There you go. Beautiful. Absolutely zero issues. Right, so obviously the hair is too thick. We can tell that immediately. So let's get into our Yeti graph editor and just change some things while we're rendering, which is normally bad practice, but my PC has enough CPU cores for that not to really be a concern. So let's just reduce that to half of its current size, and we also do need to change the material, which I'll do now actually. So let's assign a new material. Let's go with the AI standard hair, but we will have to quite heavily alter this material. And we'll definitely want to increase the roughness. So that really thins it out, doesn't it? And we will want to add a little bit of diffuse as well. So, base color, let's set it to 0.5. And do the same with the diffuse. The reason I'm adding diffuse is because this isn't hair, it's a plastic. It's artificial hair, at least. Hey Francisco, how's it going, man? So yeah, this is obviously with zero breakup, like absolutely no clumping, no real guide work yet, no maps. We're just checking width, which I think the width is okay. Now I just need to increase that density. So I'm gonna double this. In fact, no, I'm gonna go 4 times denser. And technically there shouldn't be much length variation, given that it's artificial, but I will add some anyway. This feels too dense now though, so let's half that. Double what it was before and half what it is now. And then we'll look at matching the different refs. Obviously, again, for people who've just joined, this is the ref we're going for, but it's very, very low resolution. So the fur ref is this dude. This is a lot longer than what I've got, so maybe I should rehunt, because this feels a lot longer than the original ref, but it's high res enough for us to see that kind of artificial fur, which is what we need to see. So, I think with a little bit of length variation and some clumping, this would start to have some interest to it. So segment count of 10 is a little bit excessive. We can lower that. Let's go 8. So we'll be adding noise to this, so I don't want to go all the way down to the same as the guides, which is 6. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Yeah, so that has a little bit of interest to it in terms of the width and density. So now we need to start getting some breakup in there, and then I'll do some proper guide work, because this guide work is atrocious. So yeah, let's go into this. Is there a way to close this? Yeah, there we go. Cool, so move you down here, grab you. I don't know why it doesn't connect that node up. Oh, come on. Cool, and we don't need a width node. But we do need a clump node. So that's the same density currently. So there should be no change. Come on. So that's a little bit on the sparse side. Cool, so let's get to that clump node. Cool, then decrease that base attraction. So the clumps are pretty loose in the ref, so I'm probably going to need to experiment with how much of that is noise breakup versus actual tip, like clump width. For now I'll try just reducing this. Cool, and then we're going to throw a expression node into the weight. Expression. Do we have any presets saved? I need to save some presets. Wait. Cool. So if I set that to 1, that will go back to exactly what it was. So let's do a quick percentage equals we'll treat it as a float value rather than a 100. Rand value equals hash ID. Let's add a seed as well. Rand seed. And this can be 1 for now. Hash ID plus $seed. Oh, rand seed. Why did it do that? Cool. And then we'll just do a $rand value less than or equal to $percentage clump or don't clump. What did I miss? Oh, capital R. And I need to get consistent on my... There we go. So as I increase this, we get more or less hairs clumping. For some reason that's not... There we go. Okay, so it is doing something. So if I set that to 1... Okay, I need to make the clumps a bit tighter. Cool, so let's do 60% of hairs are clumped. Cool. And we'll want to add a quick noise in here. Clumping 01. Cool. And let's throw a quick scraggle into this guy. So definitely want to reduce root scraggle. And then let's add a lot of scraggle random. and reduce the strength quite a lot. It's got a little bit of noise in there. Nothing too major though. Cool. And let's get all this copy pasted. In fact, let's copy paste you as well. CO2. What's going to be the cleanest way to arrange these? I guess like that, right? Okay, so let's lock density so it doesn't get overridden at runtime. What's your favourite movie in animation? Probably Spider-Verse, to be honest. It's quite a recent one, but I really fucking love it. You're casually grooming a teddy bear for a job, so this stream fits you like a glove. Perfect. Yeah. Are you using Yeti or are you using something else? Okay, so let's go into this guy. I want these to be quite bulky. I should also copy this width, put it there. Fine, let's get these. Cool, so we'll turn off that scraggle for now. And I want this to be temporarily 100%. So that feels about right. I just need it to be wider, because I want this more as a generic kind of breakup. Let's add that back in. And we want this to be a little bit more uniform, so let's add one relaxed step. The second clumps I don't want to be uniform, and the hair itself I want to be a little bit uniform as well. We'll give that 2 relaxed steps. Cool. And then I'll throw some quick scraggles in here before we go much further. So this is a generic scraggle for everything. Let's massively reduce that. I feel like I should use the scraggle multiplier, but kind of oh yeah, let's set you to 1 and then use the multiplier. 0.002. Cool, so let's increase that frequency a lot. So let's reduce this until it's starting to affect the look. That's actually instant. Okay, cool. So I do want to... In fact, no, around there's fine. We'll add a little bit of random, but I'll reduce the strength of it, obviously. And percentage, something like that. Cool. So scraggle mult, let's reduce that. In fact, no, we'll keep that exactly where it is. We'll add some strays now. What do you think of the Encanto? Yeah, it looks pretty good. It looks like it could be quite a lot of fun to watch when it comes out. I'm excited for it. I'm an next gen, but you're Specifically anxious to check on your look dev artificial plush hair. Oh, okay, cool. Chat is so dead. Yeah, chat's always dead. It's been dead for a long time. Let's actually turn off maintain length. Let's allow these to be bigger. Okay, so we definitely need to lower that percentage. Let's... In fact, I think that is about okay. Let's just increase more randomness and set you to about half the strength. Cool. We'll need to lower the length on the arms, I think, but... Cool. So let's give that a quick look. So yeah, we'll need to get some map variation in there soon. The main character's clothing is very interesting. How did they do the stitches? I didn't work for them, so I have no idea how they did it. I'd need to check the ref to see what you mean though. If you mean like modeling or texturing and specifically what images you're looking at. Because there's a lot of potential options for what it could have been. So if I disable this guy, well, I'll disable both. If I disable this guy, what exactly changes? I'm wondering how big of an impact that large clump has had. Yeah, so that's just the small clumps. The small clumps are working fine. I need a little bit more variety, and we need something that kind of lifted out. I think overall that's working okay, so it's the large clumps that look bad. Is this updating? Yes, there's the big clumps coming in. Okay, so big clumps are too small for what I'm using them for anyway. So let's, well, before we do anything drastic, let's save the scene. Close you for a moment. Yeah, they're too regular, so let's remove that relaxed step. And let's make them like twice the size. And then I'll paint maps to kind of say where I want them, where I don't want them. Let's go a little bit bigger. Let's go 150. That could look interesting. So if we give that a test render. So we'll want to get a map to kind of break this up. I could try using the noises that are built in. Let's give that a go actually. Let's go into, because I've never used the noise nodes, which I'm pretty sure there's a noise node in here. Yeah, I think that's it there. Yeah, noise. Okay, I've never used a noise node, so let's have a quick look at this. I'm gonna first test it with a shader. That's width. Shader. And I'm gonna plug a noise in. Oh, did it right at the end. Into diffuse color. There we go. So algorithm. Let's try cell noise. FBM. Wow, that's harsh in your eyes. But it might be what we want. Okay, let's definitely lower the gain. Oh. Or do that. That's fine too. So if we do something like that, I can now throw a ramp on this, right? So, yeah, I can remap that. Come on. Float input 1. Curve, dollar $F, is it 0.0? Oh no, it's just F0. F0, and then a value of 0 will stay at 0 with an interpolation of 3. A value of 0.3 will go to a value of 0 with interpolation of 3. A value of 0.6 will go to a value of 1. Interpolation of 3, and then I'll just do, for good measure, so that's the opposite of what we want, isn't it? Maybe let's do... But actually, I don't want to clamp an existing range, do I? I want to just limit to get more patches like that. Let's go 7. So I could use this as a mask for the large clumps, potentially. So we're going to have to plug an expression into an expression. So let's plug U into float 0. And then noise remap equals F0. And then let's do all of this is multiplied by noise remap. So now we'll only have large clumps in areas where that map is white. So if I view this, we'll only have large clumps in these areas and we won't have them in other areas. So let's see what that does. So let's go into... It'll now be a lot less regular, which is a good thing. So let's let that do a little bit more rendering. We'll need to play about with the shape of the base mesh quite a lot, because it is incredibly flat. Right, so I think the hairs might be too thick still. Kind of struggling to tell, to be honest. Might be worth me going back and removing that noise and using like painted maps instead, so I have actual control over it. Obviously I need to fix the area around the eyes, but we've not been grooming for long, so we kind of need the parting lines as well.
Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot.
Why is this playing?
Or it can crash.
Why is Bruce Lee in my Spotify? Oh, okay, that makes sense. It's part of Chill Hub. Right, so I'm going to say that we need to play about the length a little bit. I think the arms need to go a tiny bit shorter and the belly needs to go a little bit longer. Maybe even the top of the head. But no, I think... Okay, so this could work. Above this kind of line is shorter hair. Below that line is longer hair. That could work, right? Yeah, that could work. Let's give it a go. First off, we need to define the line. So I'm going to create... let's use the parting system. Okay, so if I go into Outliner, Body Groom, I'm going to go into Attributes, I'm going to create part underscore 01, or part A. And that will be painted. Let's go display as heat map. And we'll have to hide the groom. Cool. So, what do I need to do right now? Paint this. Okay, so going to edit groom. Cool. Technically, it would be a better way to do this, which would be Mario's method for partings, which actually I've never tried. I could give that a go. But yeah, let's give that a go. Let's delete this. I'm going to try to use his method. So if I can remember off the top of my head how to do it, let's see. So I need to set the range to like 0.5. I do need to increase the length on the lower part, so let's do that in a moment actually. Okay, so that's selectable. Cool. Let's create a new groom on this, and we're going to call it Yeti parting lines. Create groom on mesh. For body. Cool. And then in this, we're just going to go in and edit the groom. Set initial strand length, let's go 0.3. And I need to set this to a very, very low number. And turn that off. Okay, so that needs to be an even lower number. Is that being limited by my brush size? It is, isn't it? So, what this does, in essence, is it allows you to draw an exact parting line. So I just need to be incredibly accurate with where I want the line to go. It's kind of wearing a tutu. Let's see if the method works. I mean, I know the method works, it's just a case of whether I know how to do it. I'll delete those lines in a moment. In fact, no, I'll get rid of them now. Let's hide that over. Cool, so let's see if we can get that working. Because I think that's all I need to do. You ever done a realistic Monkey Grim? Yeah. I worked partially on King Kong. I didn't do much grooming though. I kind of came in at the end and cleaned some stuff up. I don't want to take credit for making a Grim. So if we add this guy. Cool, so I'm just going to go into the Yeti graph editor and make a quick test. Cool, so we can branch this off maybe. Let's create a new import. Oh yeah, you need to be actually set to a specific room now, don't you? As do you. See if we can remember how to do this. Cool, so let's convert you to strands. There it is. So we've got these little strands. Now we want to do a clumping. Clump. Come on, there we go. You need to go into that though. And you need to go into that. So now all hairs within a certain radius will pull towards that. So now we say how large we want the split to be. Which, in this case, needs to be a lot lower. Something like that will do. And then, let's quickly check. So now, is it a negative weight or is it negative attraction? I think it's a negative attraction. So let's go -1. And then set you to 0. That's not how it works, is it? How did he do it? Or maybe with a new clumping system that might not work. Yeah, I'll probably watch his tutorial off stream, see how he does it. Hello, how you doing? Let's, for now, just delete these guys. Why does it not let me delete it? It does this sometimes, it just doesn't let me delete something. It's alt save. I can definitely hide it though, I'll just have to delete it when I reopen Maya. Cool, so let's do that. But yeah, so rather than use this thing to drive the clumping, I'm going to use a groom attribute. So I need to get a attribute node. Create attribute. And I'm just going to call this God, I can't remember how to do this actually. Fuck, it's been a while. Let's see what we can do. So go into this guy and just create a clump O2 mask. Cool. And then we're just going to paint that for the sake of testing. We're going to paint this, flood it to 0. and then paint a little circle of clumps like that. So if I just wanted to connect the clumping just to that, I could just drag you directly in, but I can't do that in this case. Basically, that attribute that I've just created is a way to control. It's kind of like a mask on top of. It's an attribute basically, so I can use that as a mask to drive how strong I want the clumps to be, or if I want them to be missing, or how wide I want them to be. I can use it to drive anything. The problem I've got is I want to use this expression node, and so I can't remember how to connect the groom to this. I need to create an attribute node, I think. But the issue then is I don't know how well this will be passed through. We may need to create a... Oh, could you connect it to a texture node? I don't think you could actually. So yeah, I need to figure out how do I extract the expression from this, basically. Or I could just go to this and replace that with the name of the attribute. Because if I go to these, as soon as I go to like the cone, for example, and right click on this, we can go into attributes, and in here somewhere will be CO2. Apparently not. Where are you? Okay, so maybe I need to create a texture node. Create attribute. Port group. Let me just double check that I've definitely got. Yeah, it's in there. Okay, it's definitely been a while since I did this. Sample groom, CO2 mask. And was it spelled like that? Yeah, it was. Cool. And we'll just plug that straight in. And then can I drive that into here? Will that break? Ah, it breaks. I don't know if I'll be able to connect an attribute node directly into this expression. If I just quickly drag this down here, we can see now it's working, and if I go into attributes, now we should see CO2. No, we don't. What the fuck? Oh yeah, because I didn't create a name for it. CO2 mask. And we're setting it to sample the groom. So now we should be able to see. There we go, finally. Okay. So what I'm wondering is, can I actually connect this? I don't think I can, because I'm trying to connect fibers, and this will only accept float. So there has to be a way to do that, right? If I create a fresh one. CO2 mask. And then sample groom. CO2 mask. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to connect those up. Okay, so in that case I need to duplicate this guy and plug him in. And then, so we'll no longer have that percentage, but we can use the flyweight. I just don't really like using that. I can do an expression in here too, which is fine. I just don't really like doing that. So we don't have our attribute, but that's fine. We'll just go in and create an attribute here. And grab you, plug you into clumping. I just have to do it the old way. So currently you'll be able to see that we've got these like large clumps down here and also up here. This is where we should have them. So I'm just going to go into this attribute, create CO2 O2 mask. And then before I connect up the groove, I'm just going to show you what that does. So if I go into here and type CO2 mask, it broke. Do I need no variable named CO2 mask? Does it have to be a variable? Can you tell it's been a while? Oh, because I've put it in the wrong place. Okay. It's been a while. There we go. So this is now set up. So if I replace this with 0, the clumping now gets turned off. There you go. So maybe I can replace that default. Yeah, if I sample Groom and just look for CO2 mask. Then set that to 1. There you go. So I could add the expression into here. Is that a multiplier? That's a multiplier, okay. Why is default a multiplier? I mean, it's a good thing. It's a really good thing. But it's really weird. Okay, so if I just quickly duplicate that expression and drag you into default, which makes no fucking sense. This is some next level bullshit. Okay, yeah, that works. Why is that a multiplier? That Yeti has so many little quirks, but it's good to know that it is possible to drive a mask and multiply it. Very strange though, very strange. Anyway, attribute CO2 mask. Just like that. So now we can paint where we want the clumps to go, and we can still use the expression to say how strong we want the clumps to be and kind of customize them from there. For the sake of stress testing that, let's set you to 100% just so we can really see. And then if we change the value in here, so let's go 0.5. Yeah, it's a multiplier. That's so strange. Why is that a multiplier? Because the clumping isn't anywhere else. If it wasn't a multiplier, if it was replacing this CO2 mask, then we'd see it here as well. So strange. Default equals multiplier, it's really obvious, Michael Dirt. Yeah, this fucking software, man. I do love it. It's insanely powerful, but it doesn't have good enough documentation, and it's got so many little quirks that I don't think this is supposed to work. I think I might have just discovered something that isn't supposed to be there. Because I've not seen this before, like default being used as a multiplier, but it's working, so I'm just going to take it. Like, I'm not going to complain about something working when I didn't expect. So let's just set tip attraction back down, or we could do that in here now. 0.5. Yeah, let's do it in here, fuck it. Something like that will do. Right, so now, if we go back into our Grim, I'm going to alt save that. And I'm going to show, oh, that's his back, isn't it? No, it's his front, okay. So now, if I go into this guy, edit Grim, select you, and then go into the tool settings, flood it to 0, so I gets rid of the clumps. And now I can start painting where I want the big clumps to be, which the ref is useless on that, but I'm just going to assume where I want it to be. So let's go in and start painting. First off, I want a little bit here. I want a little bit here, a little bit there. Then I want to kind of randomize this a little bit. Let's get some variety down here. Is that clone getting tighter? It is, isn't it? Is this just adding values? It is. There has to be a clamp, right? I mean, I can clamp it in the... Oh, Jesus. Okay, so how am I going to clamp that? If... No, I can clamp that. Fucking Christ, okay. So let's go into this guy and clamp you to 0, 1, and let's just see if this works. So now it can't go stronger than 1. That's so dumb. Why is this able to go above values of 1? Cool. Well, doesn't really matter anyway, but fuck, that changes how I need to work with this. Because it's bypassing the expression, isn't it? It's getting past that guy. Yeah, it's getting past him. Okay, so I need to start using you again. Which is ultimately going to clamp it. This is so endlessly frustrating. But so be it. It works. So let's get some big clumps around his feet. Can kind of step that down a bit, I guess. And smooth that out on the edges. The smooth only adds value, I think. It blends out, not in. Lol seriously, I just threw the Kong name out. Yeah, no, I worked on King Kong very briefly. When I worked in NPC film. I was curious as to how you knew. Like, I've posted about working on the show before, but like only once to my Facebook. But yeah, no, I did a little bit of work, and I mean a little bit. I can't go into details because that would break NDAs. But other people did the groom. I just kind of cleaned some stuff and added some little details at the end. So I did not make the groom. Let me clarify that. Let's go 0.5. Oh. I'm an idiot. Maybe that whole time it wasn't getting past 1. Cool, something like that. And let's just paint the whole bottom in with 0.5. Just so there's a little bit of something going on. Cool, and then set you to 1. It would be nice if this slider could be set to like a specific range. Give him a little bit of armpit sweat going. Cool. So, we have that. Let's get into... Let's double check the render actually. It's so dumb looking. Oh yeah, I'm previewing the wrong part. Yeti graph editor. So let's have a quick pass at the shader. So, hide that. Kill this. Turn off auto load. So let's turn off that diffuse. And I'm just going to go into this guy and set him to a color. And I do need to get the image up. So this is the image I'm going to try to match. I'm going to move that to the other screen for a moment. So I definitely need to fix the width and the length, width and the density, because that's feeling too thin, or too thick even. Yeah, let's fix that quickly. Although I'll work on the shader a little bit. Let's go into tint. Okay, so rather than use this, I'm going to use tint. So I find tint a little bit nicer to work with. It's also very strong. Tint is the least physically correct way to work, if I remember correctly. Actually, yeah, let's actually use base color. That needs to be desaturated. Cool. Yeah, so density is way off. So let's get that guy fixed. I will do part of that via... come on, let me select the hair. Okay. It's weird. So let's double that. And half this. In fact, let's set you a lot thicker. See how that looks. This needs to be color shifted towards orange. What happens if I override the length? Is it just a scale? It'd be dumb if it's a scale. Kinda love it. It's kinda dumb too. In some areas it works quite well. Okay, so let's set you back to regular length. I think doubling the length up on the chest will be definitely good for this guy. Let's just have a proper look. Might turn off the automatic parting. Hey Orch. How you doing, dude? Yeah, I think I'm going to need to get a little bit of procedural direction variation, or I could actually groom it, like, properly. So to make it look more artificial, you're going to tweak the diffuse. Yeah, I will be doing. Currently, this is actually just a fur shader with base color. I'm trying to get the texture of the fur right first, because that will kind of pull back quite a lot. Let's increase the density just a little bit more. So let's go 4 times. That should be the last density change we need. Obviously we'll need to paint out density around the eyes and that sort of stuff, but love it. Yeah, density's helping quite a lot. The lighting is obviously holding us back too, but I want to practice going, but Yeti isn't free, right? I'd have to stick with XGen, so I guess blend the hair system. You could get Houdini. Houdini Apprentice is completely free. Yeti, I think you can request a trial, but to be honest, it's like 15 days, it's not worth it. Like, either buy it or don't kind of thing. It's not too expensive, but then if you just want to practice grooming, Yeti's not worth being your tool. And the reason I say that is because I quite like Yeti. Yeti is a good tool. The problem is, it's one of the only tools where you're forced to actually buy it. There's no like free trials or student version. Well, there's a very short free trial. Ornatrix is the same. I don't think there's a free version that exists. Whereas XGen is industry standard and is completely free. Houdini has a Houdini Apprentice, which is completely free. And I believe that comes with the groom tools too. Right, so yeah, this is working. Let's tweak the color of the shader slightly. I need to color shift this guy a little bit towards orange. So let's hue shift him. Let's go -5 degrees, so let's go 38. And for some reason the delete key stops working from time to time. It's a little bit more orange now. The overall shape of him is too simplistic. That's the kind of main issue with him right now. And there's very little interest at the bottom half. Like, he needs to be more interesting. I think increasing the length will help that quite a lot. I need to get that parting line in, which this has right there. I could also model that in to some extent. I'm not sure that hue change was... It might have been too much. I think it was too much. Let's so we went 5 degrees. Let's go 40 degrees. It's now a little bit more yellow. Subtly better. I think saturation needs to go a tiny bit lower. And then we'll play about with the roughness. So that's too low for sure. We will need to add a little bit of diffuse as well. But actually, let's do that now. So I'm going to go into the hypershade, create a ramp, and plug this ramp into the base color and diffuse. Cool. So that can go into base color. And then we need to plug it into diffuse color as well, and to start very slowly adding a hint of diffuse in there. Needs to be very gentle. In fact, I probably need to desaturate it quite a lot. I think it might even be worth me removing and disconnecting that, because that's really strong. Yeah, I'm gonna have to remove that. That's kind of crazy. In which case I can remove this too, because that color's already there. Alright, so let's desaturate you quite a lot. So adding a little bit of diffuse will just add that kind of plasticky feel that we don't currently have. It does need to be very subtle though, and also this hue is awful. Let's go a little bit more. Or maybe we need to go more saturated. Yeah, I think this just has to be incredibly subtle. Do you like anime? It's not really my thing. Like the only anime I've ever like sat down and enjoyed was One Punch Man, which I'm sure doesn't like 100% count for some circles. But I quite enjoyed it. It was a fun little show. So it's starting to get a little bit of that. Go extra samples. I don't think it really matters though, because I'm able to get quite clean images. So I really want to lower this roughness. Maybe I need to use anisotropic roughness, because as I lower the roughness, I'm getting a lot of color variation. And I don't want that. What I do want though is these specular highlights. So I think azimuthal roughness will help me flatten out the color. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. Yeah, so I'm going to add, just to see what the shader does. Yeah, so adding some azimuthal roughness just allows the light to propagate around the hair. So this allows this main roughness to be just the specular kind of glint. Although I could do a layered material to do that as well, which I think might be a little bit better because I could do it as like a coating. Let's just get some healthy numbers. And then we can lower the specular tint, that's no big deal. That starts to get that plasticky feel. Step you up a little bit. Let's go 0.2 roughness. As we increase the roughness, it will kind of flatten things out a little bit, which obviously we don't want to do too much. Let's get a small region, let it clean up. Yeah, I think that feels kind of toy-like. The issue now is that the hair's not really got the detail that it needs. Did I finish rendering? Maybe more samples. There we go. Maybe another sample. Yeah, we'll need to kind of get things away from the eye soon. TM. I sort of see what a few different areas are responding like. Granted, the lighting is also pretty bad. Like, it's an awful match to the original ref. I feel like I almost need to add like an extra layer of fixed rays to catch the light. I kind of want to try a layered material just to see what it does. Let's give it a go. I'm not convinced this will work, but let's do it. Layer material, layer shader. So we want the standard hair to be the base, and we want layer to. Is there a way to add these? Blend. There has to be a way to set this to additive, right? There has to be a way. Let's just see what it does. Let's create a AI standard surface. And this we're going to plug into input 2. Oh, why did I do that? Gloss. And that will plug into the input. And let's just see if this is additive. So I'm going to set these to 0. And I want to set you to like there. And let's just see what that does if we assign it to the hair. And let's alt save before we do that. Only done grooming twice in my life. You ought to do a stylized alpaca. Alpacas are not easy, but best of luck to you. Could not read a ray param. Oh, there we go. So it's not additive by those things. Which is a shame, because we're getting the glint now. Are we seeing through to the body there? Let me just give that a quick Google. There has to be a way to do that. Arnold additive blend material. Mix shader. Let me try searching that. AI mix shader. That might be a bit better. Blend add. There we go. Perfect. Shader 1, shader 2. We're going to set that to add. And add transparency. I don't think that's worth doing. We might have to check that. That is the wrong thing. We may need to add transparency. Alright, we can delete you though. This is a heavy material. So naturally this is kind of mental. Let's set it to add 0.1. But that allows us to get that kind of plastic glint on top. It's just incredibly heavy. I don't think there's a way to do that in the actual hair shader, is there? There isn't an extra glint level. Which is a shame, because that'd be really helpful to have. God, that's such a slow way of rendering. So for the sake of seeing this today, let's set that to 100% mix, and then we can set the strength of that in this, so that allows us to just render with this material. We can set up our material to look right here, like the amount of glint that we want. So let's just let that start its render. There we go. So that's a lot quicker now. So we can adjust. We may want the color of the hair here. So let's plug that into specular color, but then massively desaturate it. Say to full brightness. So it just gets a very slight tint of the color. Something like that is good. So now we can find the roughness that we want for the glint. Once we've got that, we can find the strength of the glint. And then we can just assign this. What we can do is just assign the hair material for while we're grooming, and then assign this for the final render, and then just add that little bit extra glint. It's a very heavy way of doing it. Incredibly heavy. Too heavy, to be honest. I wouldn't do this in production at all. But these projects are not about how I do things in production. They're about having some fun and experimenting. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's just let this render a couple little passes. The amount of light that we're getting off this thing. It's crazy. Okay, so let's pick a small section. See how that cleans up. Might be a little bit strong. So let's assign the regular hair material, which will render so much quicker. Mixed materials are bad at the worst of times. This, I guess, is where the new Renderman Llama material would come in really well. Come on. It is still a slow render. I think the SMorph roughness might have kind of fucked me a little bit. Let's increase that just a little bit. I feel like I'm getting a bit too much contrast. So the hair mat is optimized. Yeah, the hair mat's incredibly optimized for what it does. It seems to be slowing down quite a lot at the moment. So dark areas get lit, like, get lit. The dark areas get brighter as it samples more. So maybe the old reference is good. It's starting to get that kind of soft feeling, which is good. I might throw a very quick fleecy material on the beak. And then call it a night. I'll say fleecy material, fleecy groom. And I can kind of continue to work on this over the weekend on stream. As I said, apologies for not streaming for the last week. I genuinely did plan on streaming. Hence why this model was done before this stream. I just, you know, my throat was really bad with COVID and all that sort of shit, so couldn't, you know, I didn't want to sit there and talk for 3 hours, which would cause my throat to get aggravated. I'm sure you understand. But yeah, so that looks like it's all working pretty well. I like the texture of the fur. It's not matching ref like at all, but it's got a nice soft texture to it. I need to increase the length of it at the bottom, add a little bit more noise. In fact, I'll add a little bit more noise now because it's a pretty quick thing to do. So we can close you at this point. So let's add. We've got a noise that's already on each hair, but it doesn't do much. And why am I grooming without anti-aliasing? There we go, so much better. Yeah, we'll increase the noise a little bit. So let's go. Let's just reduce that root scraggle. So that'll feel a little bit softer. Are you a tweaker? That's a question to ask. Haven't you found yourself tweaking your value for hours and ending up right at the beginning? Yeah, that happens all the time. But it doesn't really matter. I'm someone, I tend to block stuff out quick and then keep going back and forth. It's rare that I'll sit on one thing for a while. It's very rare that I'll do that, in fact. But I will from time to time, because it is important. So, I want to increase the length for these at the bottom. Oh no, we're going to do the mouth. So let's do that. So, you need a Yeti node for beak. Is that how you spell it? B-E-A-K? Beak. Yeah, it is. Why does that look wrong? As said by Jesus. What did Jesus say? Yeah, so let's just go into the attributes on this guy. And do we not have Yeti attributes on there yet? Okay, cool. So we just need to import, grow. There we go. So let's set that to 1,000. Maybe 10,000. Cool. And then that grow naturally is way too long. We may need to get even smaller than that, but let's just get this on there. Okay, let's reduce that length a little bit more. Cool, so I need to get a close-up of some fleece, because it can be quite hard to get this right. But for now, let's just throw this on there. I want this boy to be locked and relatively uniform. And then let's clump. Where you at? Okay, add another 0 to this guy. So then let's go into here, and I think the hair might be too long. Let me find some high-res fleece. Short fleece. Is it fleece or is it velvet? Or what's the name of that material? Short fleece fabric. Nice resolution. Short fleece fabric toy. Trying to find a suitable fabric for the nose. That's kind of interesting. That's kind of a good ref, actually. What fabric is he? Oh, it's not actually that great of a ref. Sad. That's kind of interesting. There we go. That's what I want. So what is this material? I'm going to put that on my other screen. So I definitely want kind of a bit of chaos here. I'm going to do it with noise though. And I'm definitely going to reduce the CVs on this. So that's the clump. I don't need more than 4 CVs. And then for the hair itself, I'll do 5 CVs. Half the current amount. It's gonna go crazy. So let's go very low value on this guy. Okay, it's getting a bit low. Let's just quickly decrease the size of our clipping plane. Cool. It's hard to tell sometimes when it's actually working. There we go. Let's go 100. Okay. 400. 500. Okay, maybe my noise is too subtle now. Alright, I've got a better idea. Oh yeah, there we go. Alright, so let's do 1 divided by length. Yeah, of course. Come on. There we go. So how come it's only seeming to affect a percentage of them? Let's see how that looks in render. And I will very slightly decrease that. And I'll have to assign a new hair material to it. Assign new material. AI standard surface. No, that's not what I want. Standard hair. Let's actually go full Melon Madness. I won't be using Melon in the final thing, but... So let's go to that. Oh, I also need to go to the beak. It should now have Yeti attributes on it. There we go. Add some subdivisions. That just means that the hair grows from a subdivided version of the mesh. Cool. Can you tell this is a heavy groom? Holy shit, it's struggling. Okay, I'm going to kill that for a moment. There we go. So let's try update full scene. after I save. Okay, I'm gonna check my RAM usage actually. 20 gig of RAM this is taking right now. Granted, I'm doing this in like the heaviest way you could. This is pointlessly heavy. Well, actually, cancel the fuck out of that. I should try turning off the render time override. Go. So let's set that to no density override. Now try it. Because maybe 10 times is a bit excessive. I'm also going to hide the body while I'm at it. Or hide fur body. Come on. Play nice. There we go. I need to make sure actually, since it's probably throttling my CPU quite a bit, I need to back off on it a little bit. So let's go -8 threads. Just so that my stream has some, like, bandwidth left. Come on. It's not playing nice again. Now I remember why I don't do grooming. To be fair, this is a very excessive type of grooming. Potato PC would go boom. Oh yeah, absolutely. You need a relatively strong PC to get like far into grooming. That said, you can learn all the fundamentals on a bad computer. My first groom... I won't say bad computer. My first groom that I did on a computer with 4 GB of RAM, and a like early like 200s like GTX series card, and a dual core CPU is when I did my first groom. Right, let's give this a quick update. Let's see if just the fleece on the nose will render, or beak. There we go, okay. So we know that works. So I just need to step this up slowly now. And it's definitely not big enough. Let's back down the density in this guy as well, while we're at it. And then increase the length of both of them. Cool. And then length, I'm just going to double them. See what happens. That makes me think, is there an LED workflow for productions with multiple dense grooms in scene? Yeah, I mean, when you get to really high-end productions, the computers you're using to render are normally pretty fucking mental. But in terms of like actual groom, yeah, there's definitely an LED system that places use. Because basically the way I'm rendering this guy right now is like no fucks given to how heavy it is. Like literally, I don't care. This is the way I always am with personal projects. But yeah, in production you're a lot more savvy as to how you use your budgets. So that's not the type of fleece I'm going for, like at all. But it's interesting. So I guess if I show the actually let's keep it going with that length. So let's render length 2. Okay, so I'm not gaining any definition. I'm just gaining coverage. Hey dude, how you doing? Kiwi. Yeah, it actually does look like a bit of a kiwi, doesn't it? Actually, this has got a lot more fur than a kiwi would do. Oh shit, okay. Kill that. So, let's go into this guy and disable that. Okay, so what I'm wondering is, 1 second, I need to think for a moment. I could try twisting on this instead, actually. Let's see what it looks like without noise. Like, this isn't how fleece is, but it could give us a good idea as to what exactly is wrong with it. I need to find some proper high-res reference, though. High-res? High-res reference. Yeah, it's getting a bit more of that fleecy feel. Okay, so we were just destroying the clumps a bit too much. In which case, rather than having you, let's set twist back to 0. I think the reason this is so slow at the moment is because the numbers I'm using have to be so large. I don't think it's the actual strand count that's causing the issue. Because if I go here, we've got 20,000 hairs. Like that's a non-issue. Oh, maybe. Yeah, I think the issue is the numbers I'm using. Kind of crazy. Okay. So definitely want to copy that width. So I need to go into this guy. I'm going to set that to parameter. It's weird how it's only affecting a percentage. Oh, the length is freaking out. It doesn't know how to handle it. Okay, that makes sense. Let's do something like that. And oh, why is that set a -1? There we go. In which case, set you to 1 and you to parameter. Okay. That's too much. So let's throw that scraggle random up. You could also argue we need to change the clumping profile a little bit. Let's add some attraction bias towards the tip. Oh wait, no, I need to do it opposite way around, don't I? Let's see. Oh no, that's the right way. Cool. Cool. So now, when we add this guy in, we need to set the strength of him. So that he's just a frizz. Let's go 05. There we go, we're starting to get something back. And then let's throw a little bit of root scraggle random. It's very slow. And we do need some strays, but I'm not going to worry too much about that yet. Let's go into the distribution for this and set that to uniform. Cool. And then can I plug position into this? Okay, so now if I do P multiplied by 10, okay, starting to get some stuff going on there. Oh, that's taking P0, isn't it? Because I'm getting stripes. Is it possible for me to generate a float based on all three values? Okay, so if I take P, fuck, okay. So I need to do P0. In fact, let's simplify things right now. P0. Okay, and let's multiply that by 10.
So my parents aren't going to be home.
Where the fuck is the asterisk? There we go. Okay, so P0 is the x coordinates. So we should get stripes that go along the beak, as in from the face to the tip. And we are. Cool. So now if I replace that with P1, we're getting the y coordinates. So all of the hairs on top should get the same noise, and the ones along the side, now we're getting stripes that way. Alright, cool. So then finally P2 is going to give me stripes that go from one side to the other. Which it does. Cool. So if you don't know, P is just a vector for position. Vector meaning that it's three different float numbers. Float meaning that it's any number. It can be 0.2 or it can be 1,000. It doesn't matter. So P is the position in X and the position in Y and the position in Z. P square bracket 0 is the position only in X. So the issue we've got is that Scraggle Shift is a float, and we want to have it kind of randomized based on position, but if we give it a vector, it just takes the first position, which is P0. Computers count from 0, if you don't know. So, to get a vector into a float, what I think I might do is add the different numbers together. So if I go P bracket 0 plus P bracket 1 plus P bracket 2, that's going to give us a float number that's different in every position. And then we're multiplying that, which gives us a random... that basically changes the frequency. And of course it gives us this. Okay, so that makes sense though. I'm glad it's given us that. There has to be a way to modulate that. I'm also well aware I could just add a noise to this, but I'm just curious as to how this works. I think it might just be easier to add a noise, let's be honest. But I quite like learning about vectors and how to apply them. Because this could be a really cool way of getting stripes on a character. Because this is world space, this is the nice thing about it. I could use a modulo operation, but let's not do that. Okay, so let's go just with a noise. P. And then let's do P multiplied by 10. Okay. Now let's multiply that by 10. So this is our frequency, and then this is the amount, how quickly it changes. There we go. It's kind of interesting. Don't like it, but it's interesting. So let's set that to multiply by 1. So in theory this will lower the frequency of the noise. So we'll get less of these circles. This is the strength of the circles, this is the length of them. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I can slowly increase that. Yeah, so we're getting some interesting stuff happening there. I kind of want to do a different type of noise though. Let me just quickly search. If I just type FBM. FBM. Okay, FBM's good. Yeah, I like that. Cool, let's see how that looks. My assumption is not good, but we will find out. And then we'll add the other hair, and I'll leave it for the end of stream render. And then in the next stream we'll actually focus on refining the thing, rather than just accepting the block out. There we go, it's got some interest to it. It's not exactly what I want, but it looks kind of cool. So let's get the... oh, what's the fucking word I'm looking for? Let's get the samples increased on that. So if I go into the hypershade, this hair requires a lot of samples to the point where the Arnold material allows the Arnold hair material allows you to increase the number of samples. So 3 worked well for the regular hair. There we go. Cool. I guess while we're at it, let's just quickly... oh no, it's already pretty high. Let's go even higher. There we go, it's flattening out now. Nice. I'll actually make it look like Fleece in the next one. I swear. Let's just get you. And that'll be it for this stream. Yeah, so in the next stream, I'll actually try to make it look... what's the word I'm looking for right now? I'll try to make it look a bit more bumpy, like the actual original reference. Because he's got like a kind of crazy silhouette. My guy's just an egg. That silhouette is the biggest thing. And adding this seam here will do quite a lot for it, but... Yeah. Let's just super quickly fix the colour in the sky, because that's going to bug me to no end. So put him here. I'm just going to grab the melanin, set it to 0. Find a base colour that works. Now I'll need to look at the lighting. I think the ground is probably doing the most damage. Yeah, the ground is like kind of flattening everything out. But I do need the ground. So we'll just have to bear with that for now. And I'll let that clean up. So, yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed it or learned something. Or at very least enjoyed watching me suffer. Yeah, I'll be regularly streaming again. As I said, I only took the week off just because I had COVID, so I didn't really want to be sat here feeling sorry for myself and coughing into a microphone. But that's done now, so we should be able to keep streaming at kind of a more regular rate again. I've got until Friday to have this finished. I've got a week today. Well, technically I've got until Thursday, so I've got 6 days left. So we'll be pushing this to get it as close to this as we can by Thursday, or Thursday night even. But yeah, so in the meantime, I hope everyone enjoys their weekend, because it's Friday, and yeah, I'll see you in the next stream whenever that happens to be. Should be this weekend, if not, it'll be Monday or Tuesday. And yeah, alright, see you guys, enjoy the rest of your night.